Today I am going to show you how to use Cirrus PMS for starting from creating a project through entering DPR and finally generating necessary reports for the decision making in the construction industry. After we log into the system, what we are going to do first is to create a project. Details that we require to create a project are the project code, project name, project type, department, project location, store location, expected start date, end date, and the client. The store location can be created before creating the project to master details. If you haven't created the store location for your project already, you can create one in the project from itself. After we create the project, we need to allocate the project to ourselves to be able to work in it. It is a one-time process, so the project allocation is located inside the configuration module. After the project is allocated, we need to register the required materials and labor types for our project. The basic information that are required to a project such as labor types, machines, materials, store locations, SRTs are added to the system through master details module. Since I have already saved these in the system, I'm not going to enter them again because the duplicates may confuse you in the future process. We are going to use a new machine that is not in the system for this project. So let's register that to our system. You can do it in the machine section in the master details module. After registering the machine, we need to allocate that machine to our project. Inside the indirect cost module, we have the machine allocation section. So we will allocate the machine to our project there. Now we have machine and materials for our project. In the normal construction projects, we have lots and lots of BOQ items. To make it easy for us to create all those BOQ items, first we are going to prepare a set of templates for one unit of a BOQ using a few similar BOQ items. These templates are called as Structure Resource Templates or SRTs in short. These SRTs can be used over and over again for any number of projects you need. Since I have to be quick, we will only create one SRT for this tutorial. For the name of the SRT, give something meaningful because we will be referring to this by the name given in the future. We are going to add two labor types, one machine, two materials for SRT. After you created the SRT, you can change it anytime you want. So, now we have our basic templates for creating a BOQ item. Let's create the BOQ item for our project. Here, we are creating a tender B or the contract BOQ item. These will be copied automatically for the working BOQ as well. Before creating the BOQs, we are going to create a structure to accommodate our BOQs in a more organized manner. In this system, there are 4 main methods to create BOQs. First one is using the summary information. Second one is using the detailed information. Third one is using SRT, or the fourth one is copying from another BOQ. For this tutorial, I am going to show you how to create a BOQ item using an SRT and copying from another BOQ. After the initial details of the BOQ is entered, such as BOQ code, BOQ description, quantity, and unit of the BOQ, we can choose the SRT from drop down here by the name we gave before. All the details of the SRT will be listed down here. So if you want to do any adjustment, you can do them too. After the details are entered, we need to process the BOQ before saving it. It is important because then only you can see the total cost for the full quantity of the BOQ. Let's say in the contract we have a fixed rate for BOQ. We can put that fixed rate down here and apply it to our BOQ. The difference between the fixed rate and the actual cost is separated either as a profit if the fixed rate is greater than the actual cost, or as a discount if the actual cost is greater than the fixed rate. The second method is copying from another BOQ. In this method, you can copy from either a BOQ that the project you are currently working on, or from any other project in the system. In the detail tab, there is a copy from another BOQ button. So under this, you can select a BOQ. Just like the SRT, you can change the values, apply fixed rates if you want. Now we have two BOQs our project. So let's go to the dashboard. Here we can see the total revenue, total cost, cost distribution of the contract. Now it is time to set our working BOQ. In the working BOQ module, initially we have a set of BOQs that are copies of the contract BOQ. Even though the contract was as it is, let's assume in the real environment we had to do some changes to the contract to proceed with the work. Let's see how we can record that into our system. Values in the working BOQ will be considered when calculating the actual profit and work to be done. In our project, we have two changes in the working BOQ. In BOQ 1, the quantity has been changed to 15 from 16, and for the second, there is a profit margin to be added. Change in the quantity is done up here, while the profit margin is added in the summary section down here. After the changes are made and saved, in the dashboard we can see the cumulative amounts of the working BOQ together with the contract BOQ. Now it's time to create the activities and map them to the BOQ we created. Just like in the BOQ, we are creating a structure for the activities too. After creating the structure, we can add activities to each level. An activity is a simple record with name, description, start and end dates. After the activities are created, we are going to map them to the BOQs we created before. Here we select the BOQ level that our BOQs are in and the activity levels that our activities are in. Mapping can either be done by quantities, where the BOQ items quantity is divided among several activities, or by percentages, where the total amount of the BOQ is divided according to the given percentages among several activities. Here we are mapping using percentages. Now the planning is almost over. It's time to order the material that are required for the project. If you can remember, we created a store for our project. So when we are ordering the material, we are doing it on behalf of the store and is ordered by the storekeeper of the store. Let's assume that we have several projects running in our company. So they have their own stores and we have a central store that delivers for all of these stores. We can get goods to our store either by requesting from one of these stores or directly from a hardware store nearby. First, let's order from our main store. For that, we are sending a material request from the system. This material request can be made manually or can be generated automatically from the activities. Let's see how we can generate it automatically. For that, we are going to select a date range that we need the materials for. From this date range, the system generates the material quantities that we should be ordering just like this. If you want to adjust them, you can do that too. When we save this, it is saved as a draft. So, we are selecting Send from the drop down here to confirm the request. When we send this, the storekeeper from the main store can see the request we sent. Let's assume that I am the storekeeper of the main store and you send the request to my store. Here's your material request in my pending list. I will issue the materials for you. I can issue all the quantities as it is, or I can even change them if they are to be changed. When I save this, just like the material request, it is saved as a draft. So I am going to confirm the issue by selecting Send from down here. In addition to that, we need to mark the pending request as done to complete the issue. Now, on our project store, we have the received materials that main store sent us. Now we have to GRN them to our store. If there are any changes in the issue, you can change them in the GRN. As I told you before, we can get the material from the nearby hardware as well. For them, we don't have material requests or issues. They can be GRN directly to the store. The difference is we do not GRN from an issue node, we are making a new GRN record. Now we have materials taken in and what we need next is the subcontractors. You can register the subcontractors in the subcontract module. Since I already have my subcontractor registered to the system, next thing I'm going to do is to make the subcontract. For my project, I'm only subcontracting labor. So here in the subcontract module, we can go to subcontract labor and register our subcontract. Now we have everything set to start working on the project. Let's assume that actual work on our project is started. So what we have to do now is to enter the daily progress into the system. We have 2 BOQs and 3 activities. We are going to enter the daily progress for each. First of all, we are selecting the activity from here. We can see the related BOQs in here. We can enter the date, work done amount either in percentages or in quantities and save. Now we can enter the cost for the record down here. We separately enter cost for labor, machine, materials and fuels. When it comes to the third work done record, we assume that the first BOQ is completed. So other than the basic detail, we are going to mark the BOQ as completed in here. Since we have few work done records, let's check the dashboard. Here in the scheduled columns, we have the scheduled work done as for today. In the actual work done column, we have the cost for the work done records we entered before. Work to be done column shows the future cost for the project. Since we have one BOQ completed, cost for that is not added to the work to be done column. The last column, the cumulative at the project completion column, shows the values we have at the end of the project. Next, let's see the Gantt chart. Here, as you can see, it shows the work done progress for each activity. This line shows the expected start date and end date. This bar shows the actual start date and the actual work done with the planned amount of work as percentages. If you want to change the color of each bar, you can change them here. This blink in here indicates the activity that the last work done is recorded to. Moving forward, what if there occurs a price change in the material halfway through the project? Now let's see how we can accommodate that kind of a situation in the system. The work in BOQ holds all the values of the time that we are working now. So if we want to change the material values, quantities or things like that as we go on our project, what we have to do is to change the work in BOQ. The current situation is that we have changed our material prices. The current situation is that we have changes in our material prices. So we are going to change the work in BOQ because we are assuming that it only affects the project we are currently working on. If the changes affect all the projects, we can change this in master details. But for now, let's change them in here. Since our first BOQ is completed, we have no work regarding that. So even if we change the prices in there, it won't change. Let's change them in the second BOQ and save that. Now in the dashboard, we can see the changes in the working BOQ column. What about profit of our project? Let's see from where we can get this information. In the reports module in the home page, under the cost column, we have 4 kinds of profit and loss report. In 2 of these are summary reports and other 2 are detailed reports. We are going to look at the detailed reports. First report is profit and loss actual report. This report have details on planned and actual cost together with the planned and actual profit. Because we want information of the profit, we are paying our attention to the planned profit and actual profit columns. Down here at the total row, we can see the planned profit and the actual profit. Also, at the end of the summary section, we have the summary of the reports and we can see the planned and actual profits here too. In the actual plus future report, other than the details we saw before on the actual report, we have the future cost. In this report too, just like the previous report, we can see the planned profit and the actual profit at the total row of each column as well as in the summary section. So far we have entered daily progress, looked into the profits. Now we have to pay our subcontractors. In the subcontract module, we can generate the subcontractor bill depending on the work done. We select the subcontractor name, the duration of the work, and enter the reference code and generate the report. If you want to change the prices you pay, you can do that also. Next is to receive payment from our client. We can generate the payment application in the payment application module for a duration that we are considering. Assume that the client does not pay us the whole amount in the application. He had deducted some amount before certifying the application. So when we enter the certified application details, we can change the values accordingly in here. Now we are going to enter the transportation cost for our project. There are 2 types of transports, stock transport and general transport. Here we are considering the general transport. We can enter the details to the general transport in the indirect cost module. Here we are going to enter the basic details for the cost record such as date, vehicle number, rates, locations, departure times, estimated cost, etc. After saving the basic record in the form below that, we are going to enter the details that indicate this cost is one belong to the project we are working on. After saving the record in the dashboard, we can see the cost has appeared in the site expenses because we specified that it belongs to the project we are working on. Now for the other expenses types. For them, first of all, we need to allocate money to the payment method. For now, we are going to allocate money for petty cash for our project. We select the payment method here, enter the amount here, and allocate the money. After allocating the money for petty cash, now we are going to pay an electricity bill from petty cash as a site overhead. These site overheads gets distributed among the BOQ items depending on the work done. We can see how they are distributed, first of all in the DPR cost work done detail report, secondly in more section of the dashboard, and in overhead summary report. Then we are going to enter a consumable material cost. This is also located inside the indirect cost module. After we enter the details and save the record, in the dashboard we can see the cost for the consumable in other section under the cost. Now we are going to check the dashboard for today to see the actual work done, work to be done, and profit. Finally, we can check the reports in the report module.